Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Loria and it's so very nice to have you here. So this is going to be the beginning of a series where I'm going to be showing you how to draft your own basic pattern pieces. A little bit more about myself. I am a fashion design student. This is my second semester, though I have been sewing for about 10 years now. The methods I'm going to be showing you are the ones I was taught in fashion school. So though these are like legitimate methods to drafting your own pattern pieces, this is not something I have conjured up in my mind. But yeah, I hope these are going to help you. And yeah, in this video we're going to start with a basic skirt pattern. This pattern basically, it starts like from your waist and it goes to your knees. That's like the basis. You can do anything with that. You can make it short, you can make it long, you can make it voluminous, whatever. If you are interested in the different like alterations or different like versions you can do, write it down in the comments and I will be making a separate video for that if you're interested. But yeah, remember, any kind of feedback is feedback and it's greatly appreciated. So let's start with the video. Okay, so before we actually start drafting, I just wanted to explain a few things. I am going to be drafting this example on a 1:3 ratio, so I'm going to be using one of these ratio ruler thingies because I've already recorded a version where I do it on a 1:1 ratio and it was really hard to see. So I'm hoping that this is going to be easier to understand. So I have this ruler and it's, as you can see here, a 1:3 ratio. So generally I'm going to be using my actual measurements, just that it's going to be on 1:3 ratio. Yeah. So what you're going to need, you are going to need these measurements. Make sense? Hope it makes sense. If it doesn't, I mean, I'm going to explain it anyway. So you need to measure your waist circumference. For me, that's 69 centimeters. You also need to measure your hip circumference, meaning the biggest part of your hip, where your bum is the biggest. For me, that's 104 centimeters. Then you need to divide those. You need half of those measurements and a quarter of them. This is going to be important for your darts. You also need to measure your waist to your hip. For me, that's 22 centimeters. So again, waist to the biggest point of your hip. Then the length of your garment. That's basically from the waist to your knee. That's 63 for me. Now to your darts. You need to do a bit of math here. I'm sorry, I know. So the half measurements, right? You need to subtract those from each other. So for me, that's 52 minus 34.5. That equals 17.5 centimeters. Those 17.5 centimeters basically is the difference between my waist and my hips, basically. You need to do those on half of your general measurements, because we are only going to draft half a skirt, right? You have one front piece and one back piece, and together they form half a skirt. Make sense? So 17.5 centimeters I would need to subtract to make it fit my waist, right? That's where the darts and the side seam come into play. So 17.5 I'm going to divide by 2. That equals 8.75. 8.75 I'm going to take away from my side seams. And the remaining 8.75 are going to be distributed to the darts. One dart in the front, no bigger than 2 centimeters. Okay? Now I have 6.75 centimeters remaining. Those need to go into the back dart. But important, if your remaining excess fabric access measurement, whatever, is bigger than 4 centimeters, you need to make 2 darts in the back. If it's bigger than 4 centimeters, 2 darts, because otherwise it's going to look really weird. Maybe this is a bit confusing for now, but I think it's going to make way more sense when we actually get to drafting. Yeah, so you need your waist, your hip measurement, waist to hip, waist to knee. Divide those by 2 and by 4, and then we can start. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so now we're going to start drafting our pattern. The first thing we are going to do is give ourselves a bit of room on the paper. So I'm going to be drawing like 2 lines here to have more room to like draft and draw and whatever. This is basically our center front line now. Right? Let me just center front. SF stands for center front. So from here on, we're going to measure downwards our waist to hip measurement and our waist to knee measurement. For me, waist to hip is 22 centimeters. And waist to knee is 63. Now you can square out both of those points. For your general understanding, this is our waistline, this is our hip line, and this is where our knee basically is and where our skirt ends. Okay, now we are going to be focusing on our hip line here. So you need half of your hip measurement, that is 52 centimeters for me. And now if you I mean, this is supposed to be a skirt, you're supposed to be moving in that, and if you're not going to making this out of like a really stretchy jersey fabric, 52 centimeters is like exactly my hip circumference, like half of my hip circumference. So like drafting your pattern exactly like skin tight isn't always ideal. So usually with a basic pattern, you always give yourself a bit of room, meaning you're going to take half of your hip measurements and add like 1 to 2 centimeters. I'm going to add 1 centimeter because that has worked for me really well. So half of my hip is 52 centimeters plus 1 centimeter for like moving room or whatever you want to call it, means 53 centimeters. Now I can square that out. Here is going to be all of the action. Now, for your general understanding, this is our center front, this is our center back. Now we also need a side seam. To determine your side seam, you're going to take this measurement we just like marked. For me, it was 53 centimeters, and mark like half of that and square it out again. Okay, so this is now our side seam. We are going to be focusing a little bit on our waist. So, because our bodies are curved, like we are not 2D characters and like flat, we are like 3D, we're curved. So we are going to have to draw in, like to consider that and draw in like a little curve here on our waist to form the skirt onto our waistline. To do that, we're going to measure up like 1 to 1.5 centimeters up from like this area and connect it to our waistline to make it shape around our body, right? So now we are getting to the very important parts. we are going to have to take away our excess fabric around the waist through the side seam and through the darts. So let's start from the side seam. So you take half of your waist and hip measurement, subtract that one from each other, then you are gonna have to divide your your result. Then you're gonna have to divide your result by 2. What you get then, in my case, it's 8.75. So I'm going to take away 8.75 in the side seam, and the rest I'm going to divide to the darts, but more to that later. This is my side seam, and I'm going to mark my 8.75 on this like elevated line. Now we're going to focus on the dart in the center front, like in the front. For this, you can either measure from our point we just drew, I think 6 to 8 centimeters, and then mark your dart there, or you can measure the length from this point to this one and determine the middle and do your dart there. Now, I marked where my dart is going to be, and you take, like from this dart, you take away 1.5 up to 2.5 centimeters. Though generally I would recommend no more than 2 centimeters. Yeah, and if you do make it 2 centimeters, you are going to have to make it 10 centimeters long. Okay, that is very important. Now I will be connecting my 2 like dart points to basically my length. Like so. This is our first dart, done and complete. Now we are going to be focusing on our back. Again, if the remaining excess you have is bigger than 4 centimeters, you need to make 2 darts. If it's not bigger than 4 centimeters, you do 1 dart, and you do that by measuring from this point to this point and determining half of that measurement, like here somewhere, and then making your dart here. So if your dart is up to 4 centimeters big, you make it 15 centimeters long, okay? But my measurement is bigger than 4, so I will have to divide like my measurements onto 2 darts, and you do that by measuring from this point, from your center back, 5 to 7 centimeters. So I usually always do like the middle of that and do 6, measuring 6 centimeters to the side, marking that, and this marks like the beginning of your dart basically. The first dart is the bigger one, meaning the dart closest to the center back is the bigger dart. Here you take away 3 to 4 centimeters. I'm going to be taking away 4 centimeters. And again, if it's 4 centimeters long, wide, you make it 15 centimeters long. This is my first dart. Now my second dart, I will be measuring from this point on, like from my dart point here to my waist point. That's like 12.5 centimeters for me. Now I will determine half of that and make my second dart there. Okay, here is my second like dart middle point. So my excess remaining is 2.75 centimeters. So now I'm going to take away 2.75 centimeters here. And if your dart, dart here, should be 2 to 3 centimeters big, generally. And if it's 2 to 3 centimeters big, you make it 12 to 13 centimeters long. I'm gonna make it 30 centimeters long because, I mean, it's 2.75. It's basically 3 centimeters. So, yeah. So basically, it's almost finished. Now you need a curved ruler. One like this. And now you have to make your actual waistline. For this, you're going to take your ruler, lay it on, and make a nice curved line from this waist point to your drawn on waistline. This way, you create that curve I was talking about. And there's your new waistline. The same on the other side as well. Take your point and draw in a nice curve. Like so. Like that. Now we need to finish our side seam. For that, we're going to take our ruler again and make a nice curve into our side seam. Important for this is that once you get close or to your hip line, you need to meet the line you already drew. You can't be going like this or further down and missing this point, because this is basically your end point. You need to be, your curve needs to meet there. Otherwise, it's not going to be fitting you. So, draw the curve like this. You see, so this curve meets right there. So it has a seamless transition into that side seam, basically. Do the same on the other side as well. Again, you see a seamless transition into the side. Now, you're done. This is your basic skirt piece, pattern piece. So, now you have your basic pattern pieces and you can use them to do anything.